Yeah, this case all starting back in November of 2022 when four University of Idaho students were found dead in their rental home just blocks away from the University of Idaho campus. Those four friends are Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. Now, taking a look back through the case, Bryan Kohberger becoming a suspect a month after those murders, after evidence showed his car and phone in the area at the time of the murders, along with a knife sheath with his DNA on it laying next to Madison Mogan's body in her bed. Now, police arresting him at his parents' home in Pennsylvania just a month later in December of 2022, starting the path to where we are now, with Bryan Kohberger admitting that he murdered those four friends. But it took nearly 3 years for Bryan Kohberger to admit that he killed them, with his defense throwing everything possible at the case to try and get the death penalty taken off the table. In one court hearing, the defense speaking on the time it's taken to get Kohberger's case prepared for trial, saying he had to choose between the right to a speedy trial and effective counsel, putting him in the position of standing trial almost 3 years after those murders. Even throwing the possibility of there being an alternate perpetrator out there, and asking for a delay after information was released in a Dateline episode, which was in defiance of a long-standing gag order in the case. Now, that gag order recently lifted by Judge Stephen Hippler after Kohberger accepted a plea deal, admitting that he murdered those four beloved friends. Now, the community is still reeling after the plea agreement, with Kaylee Gonsalves' family speaking out against it when the plea hearing was taking place, releasing various statements on social media, including one that says, quote, "Bryan Kohberger is too scared to die, but he was not afraid to kill." The state is showing Bryan Kohberger mercy by removing the death penalty. Kohberger did not show Kaylee any mercy. He doesn't deserve life in prison. He deserved life on death row. To read their full statement, you can head to idahonews.com, which is also where you can watch the streaming live at 9 a.m. happening this morning. You can also watch it on our YouTube page. Just head to Idaho News on Demand on YouTube. We will also be keeping you updated all morning long, all day long, really, live from the courthouse. We're showing you what's happening out front. As you can see, news outlets from across the entire nation are surrounding the Ada County Courthouse to give updates on what happens. There's also a line forming outside to try and get a seat inside the courtroom to see firsthand what Judge Stephen Hippler decides to hand down to Bryan Kohberger. When we got here at about 3:30 this morning, the line was at the front of the courthouse. Now, they are still starting to let people in, but the line wrapping in front of the building. So again, we're keeping you updated on what's happening all morning long, and to watch the live stream of the sentencing, you can head to idahonews.com or Idaho News on Demand on YouTube. Reporting live in Boise, I'm Ashley Carter. Yeah, that road leading to this morning, where in just over an hour, the sentencing hearing for Bryan Kohberger begins here at the Ada County Courthouse. You can watch that live streamed on idahonews.com or Idaho News on Demand on YouTube. Now, taking a look at the beginning of this month, that's when Bryan Kohberger changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, essentially admitting to and accepting responsibility for murdering 4 University of Idaho students and friends. Those 4 friends are Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. Now, this comes years after denying guilt, trying everything to get his trial pushed back, and trying everything to get the death penalty taken off the table, including even bringing up a theory about an alternate perpetrator. But now, Kohberger says he did, in fact, murder those students and friends in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. As part of his plea deal, Kohberger will serve 4 life sentences plus 10 years for a burglary charge without the possibility of parole and without the possibility of an appeal. Now, this morning, Judge Stephen Hippler will be officially deciding on Kohberger's sentencing and whether he will serve those 4 life sentences consecutively or concurrently. Now, President Trump weighing in on today's sentencing, saying he hopes Judge Hippler makes Kohberger explain why he killed those 4 friends. President Trump posting on Truth Social saying, quote, "People were shocked when he was able to plea bargain." Now, we do want to clarify that while Kohberger can talk at sentencing and explain his motive, he's not required to. The judge cannot make him. It's not part of his plea deal. Under state and federal law, Kohberger does have the right to remain silent. Now, once again, just over an hour away inside the Ada County Courthouse, Judge Stephen Hippler will be officially handing down Bryan Kohberger's sentence. That sentence hearing starting today. It could end today. It could go into another day. There will be victim impact statements. We will share with you statements from family members and what's happening inside the courtroom, what happens next, because again, Kohberger does not have the right to appeal as part of his plea bargain. So we'll let you know what happens next after that sentence is handed down. Now, this morning, there were a line of people outside the front of the courthouse. They did open the doors about 10 minutes ago and let that line of people in who are all trying to get seats inside the courtroom to see firsthand in person what happens as part of that hearing. But again, you can stream that on Idaho News on Demand on YouTube or idahonews.com. We will keep you updated as soon as we learn anything from inside the courtroom. Reporting in Boise, I'm Ashley Carter.